In Nigeria today, the sound of a POS machine printing a receipt is almost as common as the hustle and bustle of the streets. From the smallest roadside kiosk selling recharge cards to the biggest supermarkets, these little devices have become the backbone of our daily commerce. They are the bridges that connect millions to the formal economy, a vital cog in the engine of Nigeria's push towards a cashless society. But what happens when the rules of the game suddenly change? Alright, let's talk about something that is already changing the way a lot of Nigerians do business every single day. The Central Bank of Nigeria recently dropped a major directive for all point-of-sale, or POS, terminal operators. It's a new rule that has sent ripples through the entire financial landscape. The directive is simple, yet its implications are massive. If you run a point-of-sale business, you now have to register and geotag your terminal. In simple terms, geotagging means electronically pinning your POS machine to a specific physical location using GPS technology. And here's the kicker. Once registered, you're only allowed to operate within a tiny 10-meter radius of that spot. That's about the length of a standard city bus. Step outside this virtual fence and your terminal could be blocked. On paper, and from a regulatory standpoint, this move makes a lot of sense. The CBN isn't doing this just to shake things up. They have some very specific, very serious goals in mind. The main goal here is to curb the rising tide of financial fraud. We've all heard the horror stories: scammers using unregistered POS terminals to empty bank accounts, or criminals using stolen devices for illicit transactions. By tying every single terminal to a verifiable identity and a fixed location, the CBN aims to make it much harder for these fraudsters to operate in the shadows. If a fraudulent transaction occurs, law enforcement won't just have a transaction ID, they'll have a physical address to investigate. Beyond that, there's the critical issue of cutting down on money laundering and terrorism financing. Anonymous mobile POS transactions can create a loophole, allowing illicit funds to be moved around the country with little to no trace. If every POS machine is pinned to a spot, it's way harder for the bad guys to move money around anonymously. It creates a clear digital breadcrumb trail for every naira that passes through the system. Financial analysts argue that this level of oversight is essential for building a robust and secure financial infrastructure that can be trusted both locally and internationally. It also brings a new level of transparency to all transactions. For dispute resolution, this is a game changer. A customer can prove exactly where and when a disputed charge was made. It holds both the customer and the agent accountable. So, more security, more transparency, a stronger financial system. That's a good thing, right? Well, it's not that simple. Here's where things get tricky, especially for the very people these POS machines were meant to empower. For a lot of small business owners, this could be a huge headache. Let's create a character. Let's call her Iya Basira. She's a typical mobile POS agent. Her business model is built on one thing: mobility. In the morning, she's at the bustling food market where traders need cash to pay suppliers. In the afternoon, she moves to a spot near a university campus when students are leaving classes. In the evening, she's at the motor park, serving travelers. Iya Basira goes where the people are. Her flexibility is her entire business strategy. With this new rule, she has to choose just one of those spots and register her terminal there. She basically has to stay glued to her registered location. Suddenly, her ability to adapt to the daily economic rhythm of her city is gone. No more moving around to meet your customers where they are. You lose that crucial flexibility, and that could mean a drastic cut in business. Think about it: construction workers on a new site, vendors at a weekend festival, church or mosque attendees during a special program. These are all hotspots of economic activity that rely on mobile agents. This policy could effectively starve them of essential financial services. And let's not forget the people who rely on these mobile POS agents in remote and underserved areas. For millions of Nigerians living in villages without a single bank branch or ATM, the agent who visits once or twice a week is their only connection to the formal financial system. They are the human ATMs, the local bankers, the lifeline for sending and receiving money. If these agents are forced to stay put in the nearest town where they can register a fixed address, it might become impossible for them to serve these outlying communities. The cost of fuel and the time spent traveling would no longer be justifiable if they can't conduct business along the way. This could leave the most vulnerable, the elderly, farmers, and rural dwellers, completely stranded. For a country striving for greater financial inclusion, that's a big and potentially devastating step backward. Of course, there are upsides, even from the agent's perspective. Many legitimate operators are actually in favor of the cleanup. With every POS terminal geotagged, authorities can quickly spot and shut down unregistered operators. For agents who play by the rules, this means fewer rogue competitors who often undercut prices and give the business a bad name. Operating illegally gets much harder. It levels the playing field. Furthermore, if a legitimate agent's device is stolen, the geotagging feature makes it easier to track and potentially recover. But at the end of the day, there's a delicate balance to be struck. It's the classic dilemma. How do you implement necessary security measures without stifling the very economic activity you aim to protect? We need security, but we also need to support the hundreds of thousands of micro-entrepreneurs who keep Nigeria's informal economy flowing. So what's the path forward? Perhaps the solution isn't a one-size-fits-all policy. Industry experts and agent associations are proposing alternatives. Could there be different classes of licenses, a standard fixed location license for shops and kiosks, and a mobile agent license for those who serve remote areas or dynamic locations, which would come with more stringent vetting and real-time tracking? Could the 10-meter rule be expanded in rural areas? The conversation is ongoing, and the CBN will need to listen carefully to the feedback from the ground up. This policy is more than just a technical requirement. It's a defining moment for Nigeria's digital future. The outcome will show whether we can build a system that is both secure and inclusive, one that understands the formal rules of banking but also respects the informal realities of our vibrant economy. Only time will tell how this plays out. Let me know what you think in the comments. Is this a necessary step in the right direction, or could it do more harm than good? Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more deep dives like this.